Hello, and we are back with yet another great show. This one for Spud, longtime subscriber, now channel member, and I don't know about you. It seems to me like all these good shows take place at either Madison Square Garden, Hampton Coliseum, the Gorge, Red Rocks. All right, maybe not Red Rocks. There's some killer ones at Red Rocks. Maybe not quite the history, though. All right, so let's get going. Let's just get started. Maybe before I go for a blow by blow, why is it on the 30th? You would think the 31st is the big one. But, there's so many nights, so many runs, where the 30th is it like, the 31st is such a hard ticket to get. They're like maybe rewarding the people that were not able, that got shut out for the 31st, but that are there on the 30th. It's like it's just the end of the year blowout as it is. We only got 4 nights here, and it starts to pick up with being the 31st being just a whole different thing. Why don't they just do this every night? It appears they can do this every night. When they have a night like this, it's like they can just do this at will. I don't know. And it had a little bit of everything. They played great songs. They played great. It had surprises. It had rare songs. It had great covers. It had like all-time versions, It had Tom Marshall. Sounded like doing a Kermit the Frog impression a little bit. Harpua. I guess that falls under rare and surprised and fan favorite. Speaking of the covers, though, we'll start with Sneakin' Sally, very fall 97. And then the AC/DC Bag, which was the big monster of the night, the leader of the pack. Many big bad wolves around, but AC/DC Bag, the biggest and the baddest. The leader of the pack. And Harpua, this was one of my favorite Harpuas back when I discovered the band, and I remember working with a guy. He did not like Trey's long stories. Trey even says at some point in here, sorry, I know this is a little long, The taste, obviously Trey just absolutely destroys that taste in the good way. But Page and Fishman there in the first part of the Taste Jam, they're laying it down behind him just as nicely. Punch You in the Eye, Stash, Chalk Dust Torture, that's like a run that probably gets overlooked maybe a little bit. And in just a normal show, there were so many parts of this show where, like, if they had only had the AC/DC Bag, you would have probably this would have been a memorable show. Or just the Harpua and Izabella, maybe the Hood, My Soul, Sleeping Monkey Guyute, and then the Sleeping Monkey Guyute that ended the second set. It was just like it was already awesome, like an A+, 6-star show. So that was just extra. And then if that wasn't enough extra, then you got an extra encore. Apparently they had already went beyond their allotted amount of time. And they were like, look, what's the difference? 12:01, 12:02, 12:30. Let's just go to 12:30. Why not? So in the encore alone, you got Carini, Black Eyed Katy, Sneakin' Sally reprise, I guess, and then Frankenstein with the longest vacuum solo in the history of Phish, perhaps, in the history of any band, maybe. So let's do a little blow by blow, really. But this show's really more just about the whole show, to me, anyhow. I'm sure most of you have heard it. If you haven't, a lot of Trey talking a lot, it's just a lot of excitement here. The Sneakin' Sally taste that just started the show, again, that might have made it memorable. So then you're your down moments, Water in the Sky and Punch You in the Eye. December of 97 is a solid month for Punch You in the Eye. And then, yeah, the Stash, Chalk Dust Torture. I feel like maybe they tease Fire or something, some kind of Hendrix maybe. Maybe a little foreshadowing for what was to come with the Izabella later. The Chalk Dust Torture, maybe not 94 style, but certainly not funky. More just straight rockin'. Day in the Life, great cover to end the set. And then the AC/DC Bag. While the early part of it did feel like maybe if there's any complaint about fall and winter of 97, some stuff sounded a bit similar maybe. Whether if it's the Dayton Jam or the Philly Jam or something from maybe up there in Michigan. And then the early part of this AC/DC Bag, it did have a very similar feel to it, Let's just throw down and dance like that kid in that YouTube video type of music. But then it got a little blissy, and then it got a little hardy. It was they ran it a little bit. They didn't just it wasn't just a one-trick pony, this AC/DC Bag. And it had multiple layers and making it the winner of the night amongst, like I said, amongst many winners. McGrupp after that would fall under rare, fan favorite, surprise. And then the Harpua repeat, Trey telling the story about how he made his French toast, watching cartoons in the morning. Very similar to me, and I'm sure a lot of you, that TV, and I don't know what age I started cooking myself breakfast. I was more of a cereal guy, not much of a French toaster, although I can kill some French toast now for sure. So then we got the 500 Mile song that was part of the Harpua. Tom Marshall comes out, really sounding a very Kermit the Frog Tom Marshall here. Then they finish up Harpua into Izabella, an even better cover than Sally in the Day in the Life. And then the Harry Hood was excellent. And then they tried a little too hard at this point. Like I said, man, they could have just played a nice Hood. And hearing this Hood too, like now that I've heard that Zappa quote, I can't help but think, I mentioned it, the 2009 one the other day that everybody thinks was a stinker. I thought that like that Hood was very much Trey being influenced by Zappa. He's like, look, I know my allotted amount of time and when it's coming in the song. I know how to play the instrument, and I have an imagination. Everybody else in the band try and keep up. Doesn't always make a lot of sense. And then, but then after that, they were working really hard to get into this My Soul. You could hear it coming. It took a while, and then eventually they get there, and it's just My Soul, Sleeping Monkey, Guyute. I like those songs. I don't know if we really needed a nearly 2-hour second set, but all right, that's what you got. And then the Carini kind of going into, and then the Carini, yeah, I think all this kind of just flowed together nicely too, It was more about the flow than it was the jams or songs themselves. Just simply going back into Sally where the night started like 7 hours earlier. Probably felt really cool. You could hear a little bit of a crowd pop there. And then the Frankenstein, like I said, John Fishman was not done. John Fishman, I think, just hooting and hollering throughout the night a couple times, too. Maybe it was just the 500 Miles. Maybe he was doing a little backing vocals for Kermit there. All right, guys. Boom. Thank you, Spud. You guys requesting some good ones. I think maybe next we are, if not next, soon we are going all the way back to 1989. May 26, 1989. I think we have another, I don't know. Well, we got some other stuff coming up, though. That's not the only one on the list. All right, guys. Boom. We are out of here.